Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we're going into the fish room to work on the new ecosystem tanks. It looks like a beautiful day outside. All the animals are making noises out there, and I actually have them free ranging. Got the roosters making noise, and all the ducks are heading to the pond. The pond out here is still crystal clear. We're having a lot of leaves fall in right now, so there's some algae on the bottom that I need to scoop out, but everything's real happy in there and still growing. Hey pup, how you doing, bud? We got the aerators going in there. Hopefully it won't freeze up as solid as it did last year, because we had about 4 inches of ice on this whole pond last year. I just love seeing all the animals out and about. But it is pretty cold out here. All the fish are down at the bottom trying to stay warm. But we're gonna head inside to warm up, and we'll talk about what tanks we're gonna be adding to the new fish room. The first couple tanks we're gonna get started with in the fish room is the 20-gallon rack here. We have two 20-gallon talls stacked on top of each other. I have this old metal rack that my dad saved from a pet store he used to run. I did start scaping this bottom tank, but I don't really like it, so we're gonna get back into that. I added some live edge walnut slabs underneath to support the tanks, and then I bought two 20-gallon high tanks at the Petco 50% off sale. My goal here on the property is to bring in as many aspects of nature as I can so I can watch it, learn about it, and see it grow. And the fish room is going to be no different. I want to bring in all kinds of aquatic life, so we have to start with getting some more tanks. And real quick, as a sneak peek, I did get the double rack aquarium stack in place. I tried carrying down this stand and I got about halfway, and then I got my dad to help me carry it in the rest of the way. I laid down some tongue and groove flooring just to give it a nice solid flat base. And since I'm down here in the basement, the flooring is concrete and it's not very level at all. So I had to use a bunch of different metal shims to actually get a level base here and a nice solid one. But I put the level on it and I shook it a few times. I'm really happy with the way it's sitting. I got the 55 up here on the bottom, and you can see the tight fit that it is. And even on this side, not much space. And when you do look at the side, it'll look like a full panel of glass right here, because the 55 stretches to that. It's not all the way back like the 75 is, but when you're looking at the side with these wooden blocks here already, it'll look like a full glass window. Well, it is. And since I do have this main header of the house coming through here, I wasn't able to stack the 75 directly over the 55. So you can see how it's only a little bit over because of that header. I wasn't able to slide the 75 all the way across. It's like a half an inch too high, or I would have been able to slide it underneath. The 75-gallon tank is actually really heavy. I was able to pick it up and put it in my truck when I bought it at the Petco 50% off sale. I don't know if you ever picked one up by yourself, but the 75-gallon tank is a lot heavier than the 55-gallon tank. I bought that 75 at the 50% off Petco sale, and the cashier lady asked if I wanted help loading it. I said yes. And then I took my 20-gallon tank out to the truck, came back in for the 75-gallon, and all the employees were gone. Not one employee was at the register. There was a line of people at the register waiting to check out, but everybody disappeared. So I had to just grab my 75, wheel it out to my truck, and put it in myself. I even looked around, tried to get some random stranger to help me load it in, and there was just an old lady walking her dog. So there was just no help available, so I had to load it in my truck myself. So I'm really happy that that one wasn't leaking when I brought it home. I didn't want to try it again, and this rack is higher than my truck bed, so I had my dad help me put the 75 up on the top. And I think this is going to look really nice when we get it all loaded up with fish. Anyway, the goal for the bottom tank of the 20-gallon rack here, I'm going to be doing the African clawed frogs in here. I'm going to be adding some other stuff, but I have those African clawed frogs already in a 20-gallon tank, so I'm going to get those moved over, and then I'll be adding some other stuff with them. This scape here doesn't give a lot of ground space, so I think I used too big of materials. I'm gonna probably scale that back and try and change that up a little bit. I do want a cave or two for them to hide in, then we're gonna add some plants, and that'll give them some extra coverage. And once we get this bottom tank set up, we'll move on to the top tank. So my goal here with all the new aquariums going in is going to be a full ecosystem. I tried to do it before, but I've actually learned a lot more now with how to do the substrate and what to add to create a food web inside there so your fish can actually forage through and find small little bugs. And I think that's going to be a lot better way to keep fish as well as lower maintenance. So I went outside yesterday and collected a bunch of soil from my field pond. All right, right, we're just gonna get a little scoop of some soil from underneath the water here. It's gonna be mostly clay. Oh, that's actually pretty solid down there. I'm not going to get much from down there. I'm going to have to get it from the side. This is all the topsoil that I scraped off before digging the pond over here, so might as well just take from this. Definitely earthworms in there, so we might have to sift some of that out. Oh yeah, there's some in there. That's fine. Balthazar will love the earthworms. Up. I also have a bucket of rinsed out sand that we used, and that's exactly what we loaded up into this bottom tank. I did about an inch of this topsoil. I pulled out as many of the earthworms as I saw, and then we capped it off with about 2 inches of this rinsed wetted sand. This is a multi-purpose sand, a little bit coarser than play sand. Using the sand is going to have 2 purposes. One, it's going to cap off the soil layer, and it's going to keep all the nutrients inside the soil instead of leaching up into the water column. And the other purpose is it's going to give your plants a place to set their root. You want to plant your plants into the sand, and then the roots will reach out into the soil. If you plant them straight into the soil, it's probably going to be too hot and it's going to burn your plants. So your roots just want to reach out and find that soil and get what nutrients they want instead of just being stuffed inside all the nutrients. So that's what you see here, a heavy layer of sand covering up that soil layer, and then I started to add some wood, some rock, and some leaves from outside to start decorating and shaping it the way I want. But like I said, I think I want to change that up a little bit. I did put this screen on top of here because whenever I added the wood from the swimming pool that I had soaking in outside, some of the mosquito larvae was attached to the wood and it came off in the water, so I wanted to make sure none of that was going to hatch and fly off in my room. That won't be a problem. Any little fish is going to love eating that mosquito larvae, and by the end of this video we're going to be adding something in there that's going to end up eating them. Oh puppy, you just waiting for belly rubs over here. Over here is the 20-gallon tank that I've been using as my quarantine tank. It has the 3 silver dollars and the 2 African clawed frogs that we're going to be moving into this bottom 20-gallon tank. And you can see that they are pretty sizable already. They are pretty much adult size, and they're going to need a little bit of space inside that tank to move around. I'm also probably going to be shutting down this duckweed pond because we have a leak somewhere. I cannot find where it's leaking, so I'm thinking the tray or the tub itself is leaking, which is just weird because it's a solid rubber tub. I wouldn't think it would leak. But I don't see any water coming off of my 5-gallon bucket or any of the hoses, so I need to actually shut this down and take a good look at it. This video might be getting a little confusing, but I'm hoping you're following along so I can get you all caught up and everything as we're coming into this new fish room. I have to come outside here, see if I can find some different pieces of wood that might fit better inside that tank. Kind of like that. We have some different things in here, and you can see how dark it got with the wood sitting in there and the tannin soaking out. But we might be able to find something in here that'll work. And I also want some stones, so I might have to steal some from the pond out here. I got some rounded river rock, but I also have some angled rock I can use. What's going on up there? Just a chicken freaking out. It's too cold out here. I need to find something and get back in. All right, I got a bucket full of ideas here. I threw a light on the tank so we can actually see in there. And I have about 20 minutes before I have to go out and close the barn. So I'm just gonna mess around for a little bit and see what we can get. Well, this is how far I got so far, and I am really liking the way it looks right now. I have an air stream coming up from my soil. So what you want to do when you put in your soil before you cap it with the sand, you really want to make sure it's completely wetted in there and doesn't have a lot of air pockets, because you could end up with an air bubble that pops up through and disrupts your whole scape. Now I did imagine a planting spot up behind those rocks on top of the log. So what I have here is a cup full of sand, and I'm just going to put it right into the water and dump it. Well, that's working. Might need a few of those. I think that'll about do it. That should make a little planting pocket on top of the cave. I know it's hard to see with it being cloudy right now, but that should settle out in no time. You can see a bunch of different life in here. We probably have some mosquito larvae going on and some jumping worms. And there was something else in here too. It had a triangular head. I'm gonna have to look some things up to see what kind of life is actually in here. But I am gonna be adding some fish in here, some smaller guppies, some baby guppy fry, just to keep some small stuff in here and see if it'll hunt down some of these little bug larvae. And I also threw a heater behind the stick formation. I'm gonna add some more sand around the base of the stick formation to try and settle it in place and keep it from moving around as easy. Once the water gets up to temperature, then we should be able to add the frogs in here and the little guppies. And now before we add the fish or frogs, I want to get a few plants in here. The plants that I have to pick from, as well as the baby guppies, are in the beddle bowl here. I have some bacopa that's doing well that I'm going to take some cuttings off of. There's also some hornwort in here that I'm going to be using. And I have a pretty root-bound pot of dwarf hairgrass, so I'm going to add that in there as well. They're kind of hiding in the plants, but there are dozens of babies in here, really tiny fry, so I definitely want to be pulling some of these out. Alright, the guppy fry are in the tank. I think they might be too small to eat these bugs though. I might have to add some of the other older guppy. Huh, pup? You interested? You, huh? You interested too, pup? Yeah, you want to watch this tank? Okay. I believe I put in 12 of the guppy fry and they're all hovering right at the top underneath the duckweed. So I didn't get a lot of plants in here, but we do have some stem plants that are going to grow fast. That back plant up on top of the cave is the bacopa that we plugged in, at least 4 or 5 stems of that. And then we have a couple stems of the hornwort there in the center, and that's going to grow pretty fast. We also have the dwarf baby tears that's kind of struggling on this side, so we'll see how that does, but that's another plant. And I also added the duckweed on top, as well as a pothos stem you can see there coming out of the side. So I don't have a sponge filter on this right now, but we are going to get some filtration from the plants. I'm adding 6 of the guppies that I'm pulling out of the betta bowl. These ones don't have the best colors. They're not too bad actually, but these ones don't have the best colors that I want to be breeding with the females. So I'm going to be adding them to this tank. They are big enough at this point that they can hunt down some of the mosquito larvae that I have in here. And I do have some in here, as well as some other little wigglers. And the little ones that I added in here aren't big enough to take them down. So in parts of the world, these are called mosquito fish. So they are perfect for hunting down all the different mosquito larvae I have in here in the larvae stage and in the pupa stage. The frogs that we're going to be adding are blind, so they wouldn't be very good at hunting down all the mosquito larvae in here or any of the other bugs, but they may be able to get one or two of the guppies if they catch them sleeping. And I was watching the tank for a while, so I was able to get one of the guppies on camera taking down one of the wigglers. But after watching the tank for a while with the guppies in it, I'm ready to put these frogs in. Alright, it's been actually 5 days since I added these guppies. As you can see, the tank is nice and clear. I think I really like this tank actually. I didn't like it in the beginning, but since I changed it up this last time, I'm starting to really like it. I did add, I believe, 12 guppy fry, and they could actually grow up to have nice color, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for them. I added an air pump over here with an air stone stuffed inside of a pre-filter sponge. It's not technically a sponge filter, but it's gonna act the same way, and I am gonna have to order some things for these tank setups that I'm doing, so I'll be getting a real sponge filter in here. So right now I only can find 5 of the male guppies that I added here. I think I added 6. I'm pretty sure on the video you can see 6 coming out of the net. But there is some places for them to hide, so that's the way I wanted it. So I'm going to be grabbing the frogs now, and they're in a 20-gallon tank just like this one with the same heater and in the same room. They're only about 15 feet away. So I'm just going to grab them up in the net, run them over here, and dunk them into this tank. They shouldn't need any time to acclimate. It's the same water. All right, I got my bigger net here. Ideally, I'll be able to grab both of them at the same time and not disturb the silver dollars too much. All right, guys, let's make this easy. Well, that was quite easy, frogs. All right, puppy, we gotta run. Oh, they're jumping. Let's just get you guys in there. There we go. Oh, lift them. Okay, they're in the water, but still in the net. Oh yeah, there they are. Look at that belly. And you can tell they're not freaking out, so they're comfortable with the water change. We're gonna go ahead and drop them in and see how they explore the tank. All right, I guess I never turned the camera on, but they are in there. Look at them. They look great in there. They're just gonna start exploring now. Huh, pup? We got something, yeah, you got something to look at while I'm gone at work all day, huh? These look awesome in here. They look way better in here than they did in quarantine. What's your nose, puppy? I can't see him. Look at him, he's interested. Oh, pup, you can see this tank eye level, huh? Yeah, no frogging for you. They are pretty much blind, so they're going to be pretty uneasy in a new environment until they feel all the way around to make sure there's no predators trying to get them. So they're probably just going to freeze for a little bit, maybe move around a little and try and find a cave or hide until they figure out whether or not there's some predators around. But they should be a lot more comfortable in here than with those 3 silver dollars taking all the food all the time. Look at him, he's going around, he's getting curious. And the guy I got these from did have eggs whenever he had them, so I'm sure these are male and female, and they might start laying eggs once they get comfortable in here. What's going on, pup? What? What? There's frogs in the water, huh? They might try and snatch up a guppy if they can. They are air breathers, so they're able to go up to the top of the water and get oxygen. I'm hoping it's all safe in there for them and they don't have any places that they're going to get stuck. There they go. They're moving. Huh, Pop? Yeah, what's going on? There's frogs in the water. This is probably the most interested he's been in one of my tanks. Maybe because it's all eye level for him. Huh, Pop? No, you can't eat them. You can see the little baby guppy fry swimming around in there too. And hopefully we'll be able to keep this going and make it a full ecosystem with a food web and everything can be able to eat, and I'll be able to only have to really feed the frogs. And if they catch any of the guppies, I'll probably have to feed them less, but I'll probably be adding some more guppies to this. Maybe this will be where I put all my guppy calls and then try and keep some better looking guppies. Like that guy has some nice color on him, but there was a better looking orange one. And I already added him to the pond here with the guppy girls. So the lighting in this one's a little bit worse for showing off the colors on the guppies, but This is where all the ladies are, and we are going to be changing this up, so I might need a different spot to breed the guppies, but we're going to be changing the whole fish room up, so we'll get to that point. We got one frog up here in the corner getting some air bubbles. There you are. I see you. With them being in a tank with the silver dollars, I haven't been able to hand feed them or feed them with the tweezers. I want to try and feed them directly. We're going to be trying that, but not in this video. We just wanted to get them into their new tank and see how they settled in. And I think they're going to do well in here. I was worried that they're going to disrupt the ground too much and start stirring things up and stirring the sand up down to the soil level. But now that I see them in here, I don't think they're going to be disturbing too much of the sand layer to get all the way through the 2 inches to get down to the soil. But I am happy to finally get them in here. I haven't had the time to get them moved over, and I wanted to get it on video, so I just put it off and let the tank settle in with the guppies. And now we're going to be able to see how this whole ecosystem grows and progresses. I'll definitely be adding more plants to this as I get them, and we'll be making changes, but we are going to be moving on to the upper tank here soon. I already have a few ideas in my head on what I'm going to be doing with this, but I'm open for suggestions, so make sure to leave them in the comments down below. If they're any good, I might end up picking them. They're using the little cave already and hiding under the sponge. They haven't found the big cave yet on the other side. And yeah, I'm only seeing 5 guppies, but I'm pretty sure whenever I put them in there were 6. That's going to be all for this one. If you want to see how the fish room progresses as we keep adding some more tanks and more ecosystems, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button if you liked the video, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. You ready to go outside, pup? What's in your mouth? What is that? We don't play baseball, bud. Why do you have a baseball? Let's see what's going on outside. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Ducks, what are you doing down here? You guys just free ranging out here. We got ducks and chickens and geese free ranging all through the yard. It's a beautiful day. I see you, Mumbles.